Welcome to English Through Truth, where learning English meets real stories that matter. Today, we reveal the shocking truth about one of physics' most brilliant minds, Lise Meitner. A Jewish scientist who fled Nazi Germany, discovered nuclear fission, and changed the world forever. But when the Nobel Prize was awarded, her name was missing. This is the story of a woman who unlocked the power of the atom only to watch her male colleague take all the glory. Love physics or not, her story will inspire you, outrage you, and teach you powerful English along the way. From a curious girl banned from university to the scientist who explained how to split the atom, this is the tale of genius, betrayal, and the forgotten mother of the atomic age. Are you ready? Grab your headphones, sit back, and let's dive into this incredible story that will improve your English and keep you hooked till the end.
It all started on November 7th, 1878, in Vienna, Austria. A baby girl was born to Philip and Hedwig Meitner, a Jewish family. They named her Lise Meitner. No one knew this little girl would one day help unlock the secret of atomic energy. As a child, Lise was fascinated by everything. She watched shadows dance on the wall and asked, "How does light work?" She saw rainbows after the rain and wondered, why do colors appear in the sky? Her parents loved her curiosity, but society had other plans. In Austria at that time, girls were not allowed to attend university. Education for women stopped at age 14. "Why can't I keep learning?" Lise asked her mother. "Because you're a girl," her mother said sadly. "The law doesn't allow it." But Lise didn't accept this. At night, she studied secretly by candlelight. She read mathematics and physics books that her father brought home. "If they won't teach me, I'll teach myself," she said with determination. When Lise turned 14, she had to leave school. While her brothers continued their education, Lise stayed home, learning to cook and sew, skills society thought women needed. But Lise never stopped dreaming. "One day, things will change," she whispered to herself. And she was right. In 1897, when Lise was 19, Austria finally allowed women to attend university. Lise's eyes lit up with joy. "Finally, my chance has come."
In 1901, Lise entered the University of Vienna to study physics. She was one of the very few women in a classroom full of men. The male students stared at her. Some laughed. "A woman studying physics? How ridiculous," they whispered. The professors weren't much better. One professor told her directly, "Women don't have the brain for science. You're wasting everyone's time." But Lise ignored them all. She sat in the front row, took detailed notes, and worked harder than anyone else. She had waited too long for this opportunity to let anyone stop her. In 1906, Lise became only the second woman in Austria to earn a doctorate in physics. Her thesis was brilliant. Her professors, although reluctant, had to admit she was exceptional. "What will you do now, Ms. Meitner?" one professor asked. "I will continue my research," Lise answered firmly. But finding work as a female scientist was nearly impossible. Universities didn't hire women. Laboratories didn't want them. Lise faced rejection after rejection. Then, in 1907, Lise made a bold decision. "I'll go to Berlin, Germany. Maybe there I'll find an opportunity." Berlin was the center of scientific research in Europe. The best physicists in the world worked there. Lise was excited but nervous. When she arrived at the University of Berlin, she met a young chemist named Otto Hahn. Otto was friendly and respected Lise's knowledge. "Would you like to work together?" Otto asked. "I'm studying radioactive elements. Your physics expertise would be valuable." Lise's heart raced. "Yes, I would love to collaborate." This partnership would last for 30 years and lead to one of the most important discoveries in science, but it would also lead to one of the greatest betrayals. Lise and Otto began working together, but there was a problem. The university didn't allow women in the laboratories. Women might distract the male scientists, the director said coldly. Otto fought for Lise. She's more qualified than most men here, he argued. Finally, they reached a compromise. Lise could work, but only in the basement, a cold, dark room that was once a carpenter's workshop. "It's not much, but we can make it work," Otto said apologetically. Lise smiled. "It's better than nothing. Let's begin our research." For years, Lise worked in that basement. She wasn't allowed to use the bathrooms upstairs because she was a woman. She had to walk to a hotel down the street whenever she needed a restroom. Despite these humiliating conditions, Lise's work was outstanding. She and Otto studied radioactive elements, materials that emit powerful energy. They made important discoveries together, and slowly, Lise gained recognition in the scientific community. By 1912, the university finally allowed Lise to work in a proper laboratory. In 1926, she became Germany's first female physics professor. She had broken through barrier after barrier. "I never thought I'd see this day," Lise told Otto. "Finally, I'm being recognized for my work." But Lise's happiness wouldn't last. Dark clouds were gathering over Germany. In 1933, Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party came to power in Germany. The Nazis hated Jewish people and blamed them for Germany's problems. New laws were passed. Jewish people lost their jobs. Jewish scientists were fired from universities. Jewish children were banned from schools. Lise was Jewish. Her position became dangerous. Otto tried to protect her. "You're an Austrian citizen, not German. Maybe they'll leave you alone," he said hopefully. For a few years, Lise was safe because of her Austrian citizenship. She continued her research, but fear grew inside her every day. Then, in 1938, Germany annexed Austria. Suddenly, Lise became a German citizen under Nazi law. She lost all protection. "You must leave Germany immediately," Otto urged. "It's not safe for you anymore." But leaving was not easy. The Nazis had closed the borders. Jewish people couldn't get exit visas. Lise was trapped. Otto and other colleagues arranged a dangerous escape plan. On July 13, 1938, Lise fled Germany with almost nothing, just a small suitcase and 10 marks in her pocket. She crossed the border into the Netherlands illegally, her heart pounding with fear. If the guards discovered her, she would be arrested, maybe killed. But Lise made it. She escaped to Sweden, where she found refuge. "I'm alive, but I've lost everything," Lise wrote in her diary. "My laboratory, my research, my home, all gone." She felt lost and alone in a foreign country. But Otto wrote to her from Germany. "We must continue our work even from a distance," he said. Even in exile, Lise continued her research by mail. Otto sent her detailed results from his laboratory experiments in Germany. Otto was bombarding uranium atoms with neutrons, tiny particles that exist inside atoms. Strange things were happening. The uranium was breaking apart in unexpected ways. "I don't understand what's occurring," Otto wrote to Lise. "Can you help me interpret these results?" Lise studied Otto's data carefully. She did complex mathematical calculations, and then, suddenly, it hit her. "The atom is splitting," she realized with shock. This was nuclear fission,
the process where an atom's nucleus breaks apart, releasing enormous amounts of energy. It was December 1938. Lisa was visiting her nephew, Otto Robert Fresh, who was also a physicist. They went for a walk in the snowy woods of Sweden. Otto's results show that uranium atoms are splitting into smaller atoms, Lisa explained excitedly. When this happens, massive energy is released. Her nephew's eyes widened. Do you understand what this means? This could be the most important discovery in physics. Together, Lisa and her nephew worked out the complete theory of nuclear fission. Lisa did the mathematical calculations that explained exactly how and why atoms split. She immediately wrote to Otto, explaining the physics behind his experimental results. Without Lisa's explanation, Otto's experiments were just puzzling data. With her theory, they became groundbreaking. "This is it, Otto! We've discovered nuclear fission!"
In January 1939, Otto Hahn published the discovery of nuclear fission in a scientific journal. But there was something shocking about the paper. Lise Meitner's name was not included as a co-author. Otto published the discovery under his name alone, even though Lise had provided the crucial theoretical explanation. Without her, Otto couldn't have understood what his experiments meant. "Why didn't he include my name?" Lise asked, heartbroken. Some historians say Otto was afraid. Including a Jewish scientist's name during Nazi Germany was dangerous. Others say Otto wanted the glory for himself. Whatever the reason, the damage was done. The scientific world believed Otto Hahn alone had discovered nuclear fission. The discovery was revolutionary. It led to the development of nuclear energy and, tragically, the atomic bomb. It changed human history forever. In 1944, the Nobel Committee awarded the Nobel Prize in Chemistry to Otto Hahn for discovering nuclear fission. Otto Hahn, alone, without Lise Meitner. When Lise heard the news, she was devastated. She had lost her home, her laboratory, and her country to the Nazis. Now she had lost recognition for her greatest scientific achievement. "How could they forget me?" she cried. "I explained nuclear fission. I did the calculations. I made sense of the data." Otto gave his Nobel Prize acceptance speech and barely mentioned Lise's contributions. He accepted the honor, the money, and the fame alone. The scientific community celebrated him as a genius. Lise Meitner, the woman who actually explained how atoms split, was forgotten. While Otto received his Nobel Prize, the world was at war. World War II raged across Europe, and scientists realized that nuclear fission could be weaponized. In the United States, a secret project began, the Manhattan Project, to build the world's first atomic bomb. American scientists invited Lise to join the project. "We need your expertise," they said. "You understand nuclear fission better than anyone." But Lise refused immediately. "No, I will not work on a bomb," she said firmly. "But Dr. Meitner, this could help end the war," they argued. "I will have nothing to do with a weapon that can kill thousands of innocent people," Lise replied. "I discovered nuclear fission for science, for knowledge, for peaceful energy, not for destruction." Lise was a woman of principle. Even though she had been betrayed and forgotten, she would not compromise her values. In August 1945, the United States dropped atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Japan. Over 200,000 people died instantly. When journalists heard about the bombs, they traced the science back to nuclear fission.
Some reporters called Lise the mother of the atomic bomb. Lise was horrified. "I am not the mother of the atomic bomb," she said angrily. "I had nothing to do with it. I refused to work on it." But the nickname stuck. Even though Lise opposed the bomb, her discovery of nuclear fission had made it possible. "I feel like I've opened Pandora's box," Lise said sadly. "I wanted to understand nature, not destroy humanity."
After World War II, Lise continued her research in Sweden. She lived modestly and quietly, still doing physics at an age when most people retire. Slowly, some scientists began to recognize the truth. They looked at the historical records and realized Lise's crucial role in discovering nuclear fission. She was cheated, younger physicists said. Otto Hahn should have shared the Nobel Prize with her. In the 1960s, Lise finally received some recognition. She was awarded the Enrico Fermi Award in 1966, along with Otto Hahn and Fritz Strassmann. It was a prestigious honor, but it wasn't the Nobel Prize. By then, Lise was 88 years old. She had waited nearly 3 decades for acknowledgement. "It's too late," she told friends. "The world has already forgotten me." On October 27, 1968, Lise Meitner died in Cambridge, England. She was 89 years old. She never received the Nobel Prize she deserved. She never got proper credit during her lifetime. She died as a footnote in history, while Otto Hahn remained celebrated as the discoverer of nuclear fission. But the truth couldn't stay buried forever.
Today, historians and scientists agree Lise Meitner was robbed of her Nobel Prize. She was the true genius behind nuclear fission. Without Lise's theoretical explanation, Otto's experiments were meaningless, modern physicists say. She deserved to be recognized equally, if not more. In 1997, element 109 on the periodic table was named Meitnerium, MT, in her honor. It was a fitting tribute. Her name now sits among the chemical elements forever. Universities, research centers, and scholarships bear her name. Her face appears on stamps and currency in Europe. Students study her life as an example of perseverance against impossible odds. Lise Meitner showed us that genius has no gender, educators say. She proved that determination can overcome any barrier. But the greatest tragedy remains. During her lifetime, when recognition mattered most, Lise Meitner was forgotten, excluded, and betrayed. The Nobel Prize Committee has never officially admitted their mistake. Otto Hahn is still listed as the sole winner of the 1944 Chemistry Nobel Prize. But history is being rewritten. Textbooks now tell the truth. Lise Meitner is finally being remembered as she should be, as the forgotten mother of nuclear physics.
Lise Meitner's story teaches us powerful lessons that reach far beyond science. First, never let anyone tell you what you cannot do. Society told Lise women couldn't be scientists. Laws banned her from university. But she persisted, taught herself, and became one of history's greatest physicists. Second, integrity matters more than recognition. When offered a chance to work on the atomic bomb, Lise refused. She could have gained fame and acknowledgement, but she wouldn't compromise her values. Even in Betrayal, she remained true to herself. Third, collaboration should be based on honesty and fairness. Otto Hahn worked with Lise for 30 years, but excluded her from credit when it mattered most. This betrayal reminds us that we must always acknowledge the contributions of those who help us succeed. Fourth, being right isn't enough. You must also be heard. Lise did the work, made the calculations, and explained nuclear fission,
But because she was a woman, a refugee, and Jewish, her voice was silenced. We must amplify the voices of those who are overlooked. Finally, recognition may come late, but truth always emerges. Lisa died without the Nobel Prize, but today everyone knows she deserved it. Justice delayed is justice denied, but history eventually honors those who were wronged. So remember, be persistent like Lisa, stand by your principles like Lisa, and always give credit where credit is due, because genius deserves recognition, regardless of gender, religion, or nationality. This was the story of Lise Meitner, a brilliant physicist who split the atom, explained nuclear fission, and changed the world forever, only to watch her colleague accept the Nobel Prize alone. Her story reminds us that history is often unfair, but the truth always finds its way to the surface. It teaches us to fight for what we believe in, to value integrity over fame, and to ensure that everyone's contributions are acknowledged. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to English Through Truth for more powerful stories that help you learn English while discovering the real heroes of history. Remember, behind every great discovery, there may be a forgotten genius waiting to be recognized. See you in the next story.